I'm Marcus Bogdan, Chief Investment Officer of Blackmore Capital. Blackmore Capital is a long-only investor in Australian equities. Our investment objective is to deliver long-term capital and dividend growth for our investors, but by doing so through lower volatility and better downside protection. The framework that we use to select our companies is a six-step process. In the first instance, we look at earnings quality and the history of returns of companies that we want to invest in. The second element is looking at the industries that they operate in, the size of the industry, the number of competitors and the regulatory environment that sits over those industries. The third element is balance sheet strength. The fourth element is management and board execution of their strategy. The fifth element is considering ESG and the materiality of ESG in their investment process. And finally, we value all of the companies through a three-step prism. Blackmore Capital runs two portfolios: the blended Australian equity portfolio, which has three core themes: quality of a reasonable price, growth and value. Our second portfolio shares those attributes, but it is focused on generating sustainable dividends for our investors. Our process involves a deep view of the companies and the industries that they operate. We're also cognizant of the macroeconomic factors that drive earnings cycles, but we do a deep dive six-point delivery in terms of earnings, balance sheet strength, management execution, industry position, and acquiring companies where we have a suitable margin of safety. And then we have to put all of those companies into a portfolio. And we want our portfolio to exhibit the characteristics of delivering long-term capital and income growth, but doing so with better drawdown and better protection for our investors. Blackmore Capital was established to deliver long-term growth of both capital and dividend for Australian investors. Our competitive advantages are really based on three principles. First is our focused approach. We do one thing only, and that is invest in long-only Australian equities portfolios. That is a culmination of 30 years' experience from each of our portfolio managers, and that accumulated knowledge provides us a very good understanding of economic cycles, of potential advantages and disadvantages of companies that we invest in. The second area is our process. It's a deep analytical framework based on six principles, looking at earnings, industry, balance sheet, management execution, ESG factors, and our overall valuation of companies, where we have a strong emphasis on margin of safety. The third area is our execution. Blackmore Capital has been able to deliver portfolios that have exhibited not only growth in both capital and dividends, but we've been able to do that with lower volatility and greater downside protection for our investors. Indeed, if we look at any period where the Australian equity market has fallen by greater than 5%, Blackmore Capital's portfolios have outperformed in each of those markets and delivered lower volatility and greater downside protection for our investors.